My name is Robert, the Natural Davis Jr., and you're watching the Monarchists Basketball Show.
The following presentation is brought to you by the Pride of ODU, the official NIL collective of Old Dominion Athletics. Be a monarchist. Join the Pride. Monarch Nation, next Monday, November 4th, the 24-25 season kicks off for the Monarchs at the TED against MacFo Buffalo. We want every ODU fan who can be there to be there and be loud to welcome Mike and Odell back to ODU and to show support for this new look ODU squad. But first, let's learn a little bit more about this team with Coach Mike Jones. Welcome back to the show, Coach. How's it going?
Things are going well. I appreciate you guys for having me. Excited about Monday. I'm sure I'm going to say that a lot in the next 3 days, but I could not be more excited.
We're excited about having you back on the show, Mike, on your show. We'll be doing this routinely throughout the season, so fans are excited about having another season of this. Let's jump right into Monday. We know that that's very important to you. You've been talking about this since the very beginning. Obviously, Monday, 7 p.m. against Buffalo with the Dead. You know, we wanted to be rocking for the first season. Welcome your staff and the players. What has this process taught you so far about these young men?
I love our group. I think, as much as we possibly can to kind of instill in, especially all the new faces, like what this culture is and what it's going to be, what this fan base is, and just talking about like how this basketball program is celebrated in the 757 and in our school community specifically, and being able to talk about it with Monday on the horizon. Now these guys will finally get an opportunity to see it and to live it and to feel it. And I couldn't be more excited for them. I think for them, once they get a taste of what that's like, it's just going to be even more of a springboard where we're going to work our rear ends off no matter what. But being able to see the excitement that this community has for us is going to make it even easier to motivate these guys to put their best foot on the floor. And then conversely, I think with as much fan support as we can possibly get on Monday, and how we perform on the court, and everything's not perfect, but we're going to play extremely hard, and I think we're going to play a style that people want to see. So I think it makes it easier for our fan base to, all right, when's the next game? And then after that, when's the next game? And for them to make plans around attending ODU basketball, not, hey, if it works out on my schedule, I'll go. Like, we want this to be like it used to be, where people, like, your week is planned around the 2 nights during the week that ODU is going to play.
Hey, before I let Mike ask his next question, you mentioned fans. For season ticket holders, those of you who are watching the show, if you don't know already, you can get 2 complimentary tickets to this game. So you can bring 2 friends and it doesn't take anything out of your pocket. So if you don't have those 2 tickets yet, grab them and bring them to people, because I'm confident if they come, they're going to want to become season ticket holders. That option is out there as well for the women's squad for the game on February 22nd, I think, against Georgia Southern, which both teams are going to be playing that night. So I just wanted to make sure we get that out. Grab those tickets and bring people with you.
All right, Coach. So when we last had you on the show, it was long before summer workouts and the fall practice schedule were ever even in cement.
That seems like 5 years ago.
Yeah. So talk to us about what areas you were most focused on during that period and what progress you've seen from these guys so far.
Yeah, I think in the summer it was just truly just establishing a foundation and a base for, that we could build on, once we got the guys back on campus this fall. And I think we did a really good job of that. We had pretty much full participation, a couple of nicks and bruises here and there that kept a couple guys out for, not a very extended period of time. So we were able to truly at least lay a foundation that we wanted to build upon, defensively and offensively. A lot of this summer was, continuity, trying to get guys to learn how to play with one another, seeing as though everybody was new. But since we've gotten back here in the fall, it's been full-on prep for, what we hope to be a great season. Every aspect of the game, offensive, half court, offensive full court, offense versus pressure, offense versus zone, defense, our man defense, our zone defense, our press defense, time and score situations, special teams, out of bounds under defense and offense, side out of bounds under defense and offense, short clock situations, like all of the things that you'll need. We mapped out a season plan, and we have to have all of this in by our first scrimmage. We have to have all of this in by our first game. We have to have all of this in by our first conference game. And that's the way I've always done it, and to plan that out, and we're on schedule. So I'm happy with where we are right now.
All right, Coach. So obviously, a lot has occurred over that period of time.
Yeah.
Is there a player or a couple of players who have surprised you the most?
I won't say anyone surprised me. I mean, we brought guys in that we kind of knew who they were and how they would fit in with what we did. We didn't have any crazy expectations or any, low expectations for anybody. We kind of felt like we knew exactly what we were getting. So, no disrespect to our team, but no, we haven't had any surprises. We're very happy with everybody. I will say this, RJ Blakeney and Donovan Raymond had two incredible summers. Donovan, who his upside is ridiculous, 6'10" kid, it's strong as an ox, and very, very, very athletic. His best basketball is ahead of him, and he took huge strides this summer. And I, in front of the team, told him he was our most improved player. And again, not a surprise, because he's in here twice a day, every day, getting his work in. He wants to be coached. He wants to improve. I think he does realize that there is an opportunity for him, if he really puts his mind to it, to really be good at the game of basketball. So he's put his work in. And then RJ, I've known RJ since he was in high school. I've seen him play. I think I know what he's capable of, and I know that we've been very intentional in pouring into him, because he is so talented. He can do a little bit of everything on the court. If we can just make sure we coach him the right way, I think this is his senior year. I think he's going to have a tremendous final season here in Norfolk, and he won't be done playing basketball when he leaves here.
I don't think that can be overstated on improvement from season to season. I think over the last 10, 15 years, Monarch fans, the players that they've seen that have made those leaps every year, not necessarily come in as the best player, but improve each summer, guys like Kent Bazemore, guys like Frank Cassell, who made exponential improvements each year, seem to be the ones that just continue to do things like that.
Absolutely. And I think there's a couple of different sides to the sword, so to speak. Sometimes now, because of the portal and things like that, you're not getting as many young guys that you can watch develop over the course of 3 and 4 years. You're getting older guys. The benefit we had this year, because neither one of those guys is a freshman, but they're new to us and they're new to our coaching. And I think that is a benefit to them, because they're not doing the same exact thing they've done. For RJ, this isn't his senior year, and he's been in the same program for the last 3 years. Like, everything is new to him. So he's found his way to kind of thrive in how we play. And Donovan, the same thing. Like, I think anybody that sees Donovan play will just speak to potential. So our biggest thing is, let's change that P word to production. And if we can do that with him, the sooner rather than later, again, he's going to have a great career with us.
All right, Coach. So new staff, almost a completely new team, and a fairly young team.
Yeah.
But you need leadership on the floor, separate from you and then staff. Has anyone stepped up so far and taken that role?
Of course. We do have the new team that we have, it's not like, Emo, Danny, RJ, and Devin could walk in and, tell them, hey, this is how Coach Jones is. Like everything's new to everyone. Um, so that kind of throws the whole leadership hierarchy and how teams develop, kind of into a little wacky situation. But um, we recruited to a little bit of everything, and leadership and communication and people that we could trust on the floor. A couple of these guys are here because they're very talented, but then also they provide that aspect as well. Steph Walker, I cannot speak enough about him. He's like, he's not an old man, but he's the old man on the team. Everybody kind of seems to flock to him for advice for anything on and off the court. And he embraces that. He's not the big walk in the room and just start talking to everybody, but he's like that uncle you have that, kind of sits in the corner and, after being at the house for, a half hour, you see all your cousins and your nieces and nephews all kind of sitting around that uncle in the corner, just enjoying spending time with them. That's who Steph is. Robert Davis Jr. is the guy that walks in the room and starts talking to any and everybody. And, his personality is infectious. His energy is infectious. Both of those men, Steph and Rob, both have high basketball IQs. So their leadership has been very, very, very welcome by our coaching staff. And then Big Kyle, again, another really smart player that wants to talk. But then you do have Devin Caesar, who, again, because of his talent, people are going to recognize him immediately. And, he's done a really good job of trying to develop as a leader as well. So we've got some guys that are really doing a good job. RJ is more of a lead by example type of guy. So, every aspect, guys are different styles of leadership. But I like our group.
Okay, Mike. So for people who aren't super knowledgeable about basketball but enjoy to come and watch the game, maybe they didn't play themselves.
Mhm.
Their eye tends to follow the ball.
Yeah.
They don't look at off ball.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about that for a second. Tell Monarch Nation, when they're watching the game, who they should watch for when they don't have the ball.
All right, so it depends on what you like. If you just want physicality, if you want someone who clearly is just leaving everything he has on the basketball floor, I would say you got to watch Big Kyle. Kyle is definitely a basketball player, but he likes to touch people, for lack of a better way of saying it. He's very athletic. He runs the floor so well. He rebounds. He plays above the rim. But, Kyle's not a guard. Kyle's not going to have the ball in his hands initiating our offense. So, all of the things that he does for us is going to be because someone gave him the ball. So if you were not to follow the basketball and you just want to, if we put a ticker on Kyle, on how much he moved during the game, he would probably be one of the most, in terms of distance in a game for a big man. Like, it's going to be less than a guard because they don't have as far to go. But Kyle is going to be one of those guys that's most active. They have those catapult systems that kind of track how much effort you're exerting within a practice or a game and things like that. Kyle would be one of our team leaders for sure.
All right. Talking more about this team and the depth. I mean, you brought in a lot of talented wings and scorers and defenders. So we imagine early in the season, the rotation is going to be kind of in flux. Do you have an idea of where that's headed, or?
I do. I do. To answer the question simply, no. In a perfect world, in a perfect world, we play 10, sometimes 11 guys, and with all of them getting, decent minutes with us. That's not really the way it normally goes, but that's what I'm going to coach to try to be able to do one day. Just to have guys that, no matter what, there's no drop off. We can sub in, sub out. Guys are used to playing with one another, and we can do that. We are getting close to that. I think that the opponent will dictate a little bit of what we do because we have some guys that shoot the ball a little bit better. We have some guys that play in the open court a little bit better. We have some guys that are a little bit more physical than others. So depending upon the flow of the game, how the game's being called, all of those aspects will impact, how deep we can go. But I don't think you'll ever see us play a game where we play less than 9. But 10 or 11 guys is what we would hope. And the guys that are not in that 11-man rotation, they're working hard every day to continue to develop to get into that rotation. So I like our team. I like where we are. We've got 3 more practices before Monday. God willing, we'll stay healthy and and put on one heck of a show on Monday night.
So, Mike, when the goal to be able to play 10 or 11 guys, what does that do for a team, and what does that do to a team that you're playing against?
So I'm going to touch on 3 aspects. There's probably 10, but the 3 aspects that I kind of try to focus on with our guys is 1, we're harder to prepare for. Another team, like, who are they going to start tonight? Like, hey, I got to know as a wing, I got to know how to guard probably 5 or 6 different people. I got to know how to guard this guy, this guy, this guy. Like, who's the shooter? Who's not the shooter? It definitely changes. Do I chase a guy off a pin down because he's a shooter, or do I go under this ball screen because I know this guy wants to get downhill? Like that, we're tougher to prepare for. 1, 2, you keep more guys engaged. You keep more guys. Like if I've got 11 guys over there that know that at any moment they get called to go in this game, they're locked in, they're paying attention, they know what's going on. If you're only playing 7 guys, on a roster like we have, that means the majority of your team is sitting over there. Like, I hope they're locked in, but they're human. Like they're not necessarily doing that. So we get to keep more of our team engaged. And then the third thing, and maybe the most impactful in terms of what the fans will see, is it allows us to play a style. Like we get to press as much as we want. Like we don't have to worry about getting tired. If our point guard gets tired, hey, we've got a couple more that we can throw out there, and you come on out, get your break. So developing the depth that I desire and the depth that I think Old Dominion basketball should be is fun. 1, but 2, I think it translates to the culture that we want to be known for. And when you talk about Old Dominion basketball, I want you to talk about the pace we play. I want you to talk about the effort we give. And for any coach coaching against us, I want them to have, we say in coaching, I want them to have a little bit of heartburn preparing for us.
I love to hear that last part. All right. So there's been some NCAA rule changes this offseason. One was an amendment to add distinct consequences for physically abusing or threatening an official. Prior, it just mentioned an ejection. Now it mentions an ejection and 1-game suspension. The other rule change allows officials to review whether a player's foot was in bounds on a play. Prior to this rule, out of bounds was only reviewable if it was called on the floor. So given those rule changes, we'd like to ask you, is there something you'd like to see changed in the rule books?
No. I love our game. I truly love our game. And, obviously any contact with an official or things like that, I mean, to me, that's common sense, especially if it's intentional. So that makes sense. The Georgetown TCU game last year ended with a team losing that probably shouldn't have lost because a shot was counted, even though the guy clearly was out of bounds, but because it wasn't called on the court, it could not be reviewed. They reviewed it to make sure the shot got off in time, and everybody saw that the foot was out of bounds, but since it wasn't called, you weren't allowed to nullify the basket. So, that's only right. So those 2 rule changes make sense. And I'm sure as my career goes, there'll be a couple of rules every year that, I hope just makes sense. But I love our game. I enjoy this so much. I've got so much to worry about coaching, the guys on our roster. Like, you leave people's jobs, you let them do their jobs. So the guys that, the referees and the officials and the governing body, they get to make these changes. that's what they're paid to do. So let them do it. And just as long as I'm clear on what the rules are, I'll coach to that. So I have no rules that I would like to change other than if they could just make it so ODU wins all the time. That's all.
We'd be in favor of that rule. All right, so some breaking news yesterday on Halloween. The Sun Belt announced changes to its basketball tournament in Pensacola. Curious of what your thoughts are on that. I know that we shared it out on social media. The fans have kind of chimed in there. Obviously, we see where they're going with it and why they're doing what they're doing. But curious what your thoughts are on that.
Again, I above my pay grade, but I do understand why you want your best representative from our conference to go into the conference tournament because that team has a better chance to win. So I understand why you do that. The basketball person that I am, the purist that I am, I do, personally, not necessarily agree with the compromising of what it is, what March Madness is. And I hope to be the 1 and 2 seed. So, and if you get to go all the way to the semifinals, that's awesome. But to have a team be able to win just 2 games and qualify for the NCAA tournament is just not the way that I grew up watching this game. So it's a little bit different, and we'll, at least mentally, we'll take an adjustment as a fan. But as a coach, again, I understand our conference needs to do things to make sure that we put our best team forward. And, as coaches in our league, we all should be united in doing everything we can to make us more than a 1-bid league, to continue to improve our teams, to improve our schedules, so that we can be in a situation where there is an at-large Sunbelt team, or let's keep working and make 2 at-large Sunbelt teams. So that'll be what my focus is. Like, the conference tournament is what it is, and I want to win it so that there's no waiting till Sunday to find out if we're going. I want to know. But until we get to that point, I'm going to be working hard to promote our league as much as we can so that more than just the conference tournament champion gets to go.
All right, so in this era of college basketball, you got the portal. You got a lot of roster changes year to year. It makes it harder early in the season to prepare for your opponents. So you got secret scrimmages that add another layer to it. And then you got these exhibitions against different levels of competition.
Mm-hmm.
How are you managing to advance scout teams that you're playing early in the season? How do you do it these days?
All right, so I will not be able to be completely honest with my answer with that. So I'll just tell you that up front. There are different ways and avenues, and I will tell you, first of all, I do stalk the internet and try to find out as much as I can about individuals. For a team like Buffalo, for instance, they have so many new faces like us, but so many freshman new faces, or so many faces that are from Canada and not, American basketball players. So getting information on them has not been easy at all. But there is a fraternity that I've been a part of for a very long time. You could say, guys owe you favors from 15, 20 years ago. And sometimes you got to call in those markers, so to speak. So getting information, there's film sharing and things like that I know some people, some coaches, myself included, like, you don't like that part. If I play your team in a scrimmage and we agree that we're not going to share the film, but Aaron and I have known each other for years, and he plays your team later in the season or in the beginning of the season. So Aaron reaches out to me, and because we're friends, it's like, hey man, come on. I know you and Mike agreed not to share, but like, yeah, can I please, like, I don't have any other way to prepare for them. And like, coaches and friendships and things like that. So your character comes into to the equation there. So I know the way we're going to conduct business, and this is honest. If we make an agreement, we're not going to share film, we're not going to share film. But sometimes you have circumstances that make people make decisions that maybe another coach wouldn't have made. So, and I'll just leave it at that. You have some coaches that it's the fraternity is interesting. You have different motivations for doing things, and I always want to be true to who we are and what I want our young men to be. So, if I tell a coach we're going to do something or not going to do something, then we're not going to do it.
All right, Coach. So, as fans, it almost seems as soon as the previous season is over, we already are looking forward to the next season. And with those thoughts, expectations come, and those sorts of things, and with the new coaching staff and a new team, I think a lot of it's interesting to look on social media and what fans' expectations are for this year.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to ask you, what are your expectations for this season, and what expectations really should fans have?
So I'll never tell the fans what their expectations should be. I hope we have a fan base that, hey, you want us to win every single game we play, and I don't have any issue with fans saying that. Like, people say, "Oh, Mike, you're in your first year. You got to build it. You got to," and that's right. That is correct. This is not going to happen overnight. I cannot come in here and snap my fingers. The best coach in the country could not come in here and snap his fingers and just immediately have a 30-win basketball team. But, my expectation of our team is that we're going to be better every single day. That's coach talk. But I truly mean it. Like, we're going to get better every single day. We are not going to play a game this year where we haven't done everything we could to prepare to win. Now, execution and my in-game coaching and things like that, there'll be mistakes made, but we're planning to win when we step on the court. And I think as we go through this process, we'll win more than we'll lose. And as we continue to develop throughout the season, a lot of aspects go into that, staying healthy, the psyche of the team, guys accepting roles and embracing those roles and being able to do it at a high level. Like, all of those things contribute to that. But I want to compete for a Sun Belt championship. And our players know that. That is if I were to give a statement, that would be my statement. I want to compete for a Sun Belt championship, and I don't want to wait 2, 3, 4 years to be able to do that. I want to do that now. It remains to be seen if we can, but that's what we're working to.
Before Mike asks his question, your message to your team is clear that that's the goal. Because I had the opportunity to talk to 5 of them this weekend, and when I asked them about team and personal goals, each and every one of them led with the team goal, and that was at least their initial team goal.
Mm-hmm.
So that messaging has been clear for sure.
Well, I'm happy to hear that. That's a couple less sprints in practice today. I'll make sure I give you the credit for that too, Aaron. But no, in all seriousness, like, I don't say this bragging, but like, my career has been that. When I played on teams that won. When I've coached on teams that have won. And even in the years that we weren't as good, when that year started, like, we thought we were going to be right there when it was all said and done. That's all I know. So I'm this year would not be the year I would think of it differently. How about that? This is what I've always known my whole career. So why change now?
After these last 2 statements, I think that's a great place to close this out. Get to Chartway on Monday. Root this team on. It's going to be fun. There's been some amazing changes in the Blue Room. There's going to be live music every game. So get there early, enjoy the festivities, and get loud for Mike, Odell, the staff, and this team. Thank you so much for joining us today. And Mike, if you have an outgoing message, let's hear it.
Absolutely. So, Monarch Nation, like, with all due respect, this is a new time at Old Dominion basketball. and we need you. We need you. Monday is going to be a celebration, and you're not celebrating me. You're not celebrating Odell. You're celebrating the Monarch basketball family. There's a ton of new faces on the coaching staff and obviously in uniform representing you and our school community. We need you there. We need to show everybody what this place is capable of, and we'll have more and more coming right after it. As soon as we get Monday done, again, I want you guys to be leaving out of Chartway saying, when is the next game? So please show up early, show up loud. And again, we're working our rear ends off. We got 3 more practices before. We're going to try our best to put on the best show that we possibly could in celebrating the opening of the 2024-2025 season, and what we hope to be a lot of success, a lot of wins, and again, a new era starting at Old Dominion men's basketball.
Love it. Thanks, Coach. Go Monarchs.
Yes, sir.
Go Monarchs.